Hello, 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 and welcome back to yet another episode of Electricpreneur Secrets. I'm your host, Clay Newmeyer. With me, as always, my esteemed co-host, Joseph Lucani, and we are the Electricpreneurs, just a couple of master electricians with current licenses and business addictions. You like what I did there, Joe?
Yeah, I do like what you did there. Yep.
Welcome to our freemium program and our daily coach call, right? The cost for this, for you, easy, sit back, relax, give us a little time. Promise to take everything we give and also promise to take action. Report your wins back to us and watch them add up. Consistent activity is the name of this game. Would it be wrong of us to keep showing up and keep providing those activities for our friends and followers, Joe?
No, one, it's not wrong. Two, I love what you did there. Three, bring the energy, man. I love what you're doing today.
You got to light it up. You know why? Because this is episode 237. Yeah. And it's another $1 million launch series. And it's, you guessed it, You Googleize It.
I gotta admit, when I saw the title of that, I was like, wait a second. Googleize. Googleize? What?
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we talking about today, Clay?
This is kind of borrowed from that movie, Zoolander, I think, where
Great
he
movie.
had to say the word
Eulogy.
yeah, eulogy. And he went,
He's
yeah,
like, you
it's
Google
not
it.
easy being a You Googleizer, something like that. And I always thought that was hilarious. And we're trying to remain organic, and we're following up an absolute fire podcast on the last episode about organic marketing, about the Facebook cheat sheet, and the next things we're going to find on the service leads now action list that we promoted. By the way, that's our free value piece. You can still comment and grab that. Just type in service leads now or throw a 2 in the chat just to mix this up and confuse Austin with the numbers. He's the one that's going to link up with you in there. He's going to go, what's a 2 mean? What's a 3 mean? But the next steps really are this organic development of as much marketing as possible. And you said something prior to this show, Joe, that I really liked. And it's like connecting the dots and sort of building out this funnel to give people flow to get to you.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really cool because it's not something where you have just one ad and one ad is the thing that's going to drive it, but it's almost like building the railroad tracks. Each individual post, each individual connection is the rail that you've allowed, the pathway that they can follow to eventually get to you at the end of the track. Whereas so many people are trying to pay big money to get one ad and hope the customer can jump from that ad all the way to the finish line, like some 30-foot long jump. It's not going to happen. People need small, consistent touch points to build that connection. So you show up as a 10 before you even knock on the door.
I like that, man. I like it a lot. And really, what I'm going to suggest to every electricpreneur out there, especially for us in this series, building our business, we want to establish parallel channels of people coming to find out, to discover us and what it is we do. Right. And one of the places that we cannot deny for electricians everywhere, at least from what we've experienced, is that Google has a place in that. It's become a really, really powerful search engine that people kind of take for granted. You almost don't even hear Google and search engine in the same sentence anymore. Google's become a way of life, a way of making your life simpler. And for many of your prospects, your future clients, it's making their lives simpler too. Now, let's think about this for a second. If I'm looking for an electrician and I type that in on Google, you've likely done this exercise before. It's literally going to come up with a list, right, of the most popular providers based on some of the reviews, based on SEO, search engine optimization, which we are going to kind of stuff that out for now, but based on several factors, which are all actually labeled and listed in our little DIY You Googleize It guides that we have in the program. And I'm going to give those away today, 2 for free if you type a 4. So now Austin's completely lost. We got 2, 3, and 4. 3 was the Facebook cheat sheet from last one. 4 is now the You Googleize It method. We've never given that away, but it's really powerful because we just need to be there. And if we've started this company, we've got some exchanges. We already know some of the little multipliers, the good neighbor, the friends and family, and now the organic Facebook methods, social media methods. Doesn't it make sense to have this parallel path where people can also find us just in a need in a moment?
Yeah, because one of the things that really stands out is when you said when they need you in a moment. Because provided that we've established ourselves prior to them needing us, we become the first choice. But as soon as they only know us when they're in need, Now we're competing against everyone on that list. Because could you imagine you go to, say, electrician near me, you go to Google, you pull it up, and maybe you're not at the top of the list, but they knew that they were looking for you in particular. Then being fifth or sixth isn't the craziest thing, because they're like, you know what? I'm looking for serviceable electrical. Now there's a reason. They may even type you in on Google. They may even start you and say, just look for your company name.
Totally.
So the small, consistent drips are absolutely essential.
And there's actually a few avenues tying into this. And we already mentioned one, the reviews. We talked about, hey, how starting with friends and family, and then with the social network stuff too, reviews can actually be pretty plentiful so long as we're diligent in pursuing them. Right? What friend do you do work for that isn't going to leave you a review? That would leave you in an awkward space in your relationship, right?
Yeah. It's like, there are friends that may not want to pay full price, but you'll very rarely find a friend that's like, yeah, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to write you a review. I can't be bothered. I don't got the time.
Yeah. 100%. And even if your friend legitimately was too busy, you know what, man, I'll save you the hassle. I'll even write it for you. You just copy, paste, and submit. We both win. Sounds dirty, but hey, I want my reviews. I need that social proof. Social proof is conducive to more work from people that don't know us yet. And so the reviews are super, super important. And Google's a great place to collect those reviews. Would you agree?
I completely do. And, it's one of those things where as we go on and we start teaching about reputation management and all the guide points that you can touch on, it's so important to be able to say, we need these reviews, because if we're going to be liked, trusted, and respected by complete strangers, they do need that validation. So not only having reviews, but having them say key things is going to be equally important.
And so when customers look you up on Google, we're going to use Google as a center point for this little mind map and how we branch out here. When they look you up, they're going to see reviews. They're going to see your name. Hope we chose wisely earlier on in our sessions here on this journey in this series, right? They're likely going to see some pictures, and it's something we're going to dive deeper in later, but also we're going to encourage more photos, right? Sooner than later. That's coming, and it's really important. And it also can contain metadata that's going to link you to the local areas that you serve. And the more you have on that, the more people get to see your work and experience you, and the more they get to see you locally engaged in that. And Google's going to help in prioritizing you in that way. One of the other things, though, it's going to share your information. And in our service leads now, we're going to ask that you're constantly aware of what information that's providing, and as your business is evolving, to make sure it's accurate. And that's never more important than the beginning. So even if you're working from your house, at least it gives you an area. There's not much you can do about that. You've got to give this some perspective, right? Something to reference about who you serve. That is okay, right? And later on, we're going to talk actually about maybe when to get in office and how to locate that, and again, updating Google. But the next point we're going to touch on is actually the other thing is your web address. So the other thing it's going to ask you is actually, what website do you have? And that's something we need to uncover here as well. Here's the suggestion that I'm going to make, and I'm sure, Joe, you'd agree and have your own sentiments on this. Where we mentioned SEO earlier, search engine optimization, a lot of this stuff can complicate our early business and take a lot of money from our pockets. That right now we're aiming for an organic prioritization and a multiplier effect on every lead. And we can do that because we're small and we're flexible and we're good at relating to people still. We don't have a bunch of minions trying to replicate us or speak our messaging. Right? We are the heart and the brain of this. And so we can create that multiplier impact. So what I'm going to suggest is to remain bootstrap on this website, minimal outgoing, maximum incoming. So there's just a few things that I want the website to do. Joe, what are your thoughts on what you would like this website to do for us?
So I guess the first thing when it comes to website, because I feel like this needs to be spoken, is that a lot of times when you see websites, you think that they need to be fancy, they need to be flashy, and they need to be like bells and neon lights and all these things coming in, when really that's not the case. It needs to be just a couple of core factors. Who are we? How do you research? Like, it's like, who are we? Like, what do we do? How do you reach us? Can you book an appointment here? I mean, some people even list services listed, but you'll never list all your services because if the customer asks something new electrically, like let me give you an example. I had a customer once ask if we did alarm systems, and we literally wasn't listed on the website, but we custom built him an in-wall hidden safe that was controlled by an electromagnet switch under the sink. That would never be listed, but we did the thing because we rose to the challenge. So,
Mm.
who are we? How do you get a hold of us? And how can you book an appointment? You
I
can
want to
have those
focus on
things,
that.
you're great.
I want to jump right in with you on the about us, that who are we?
Mhm,
Because I have seen this done so poorly.
mhm.
So many electrical websites out there still, electricpreneur websites don't actually show a picture of the person running the business. They don't
Mhm.
show a picture of the team. They don't show any like fun, loving, caring perspectives of the people that work here. And now remember, we're niching in service. That's kind of important if I'm going to call you and ask you to be in my home, that I believe you're someone worthy of my trust. And right, that risk of home security is alive there.
Mhm.
On the contrary, I've also seen where owners show too much of the wrong thing. Here's an example of this. One website in particular, we were doing some competitive research for one of our customers, and we were looking at the neighboring electricpreneur companies and that were in the service as well. And there was one where a guy's about middle age. It seemed like he had taken the company over from his dad, and he's at a gala. And so he's dressed kind of Guido. His chest is open with a big chain, right?
Mhm.
His arm, his sleeve is folded up, unbuttoned, folded up to show his full sleeve tattoo, right? On both sides, some more jewelry hanging off, and he's got this babe on his arm in like a gold dress that's slid up the side and showing some leg and showing some upper anatomy as well. You get the kind of vision here,
Yeah, I could
surrounded
see
in
that.
gold and jewels and pretty girls. And like, does this sound like an electrician to you?
No, in addition to that, it's a little messed up. My first thought is, man, this guy's probably going to be pricey. If I see you with a Rolex on your arm, my first thought is, well, good for you. But second, if I'm going to hire you, how are you affording a Rolex? In my mind, as a non electrician customer, I'm thinking you're going to charge $100 an hour. And if you're showing up in a Corvette, where are you getting the money from? How much are you going to charge me? And now I'm even inspired to want to, or inspired to want to ask for a breakdown only by the picture.
100% agree. And so I'm a firm believer of telling your story. In
Mhm,
fact, as Russell Brunson calls it, like your origin story, which is
mhm,
usually directly relative to your why, which we have yet to deep dive into, but that's also going to come further into this series because it's an iterative why. As we build a business, I mean, Electricpreneur Secrets and Service Loop Electrical, our why is still finding its proper home. It's really
mhm.
not this thing that you lock down and it's that forever, because we're constantly realizing our identity through the service that we provide and the customer realizations that we're creating. Now, that was a mouthful, but does that make sense?
It really, really does. In pretty much, if you want to super simplify it, to thine own self be true, so no man may call you false. Be true to who you are. Make sure that when you're showing customers who you are, that it does represent your why, but that it doesn't exceed beyond what they need to see. And then if you're being truthful with yourself, then they get to see you at face value.
100%. In saying that, I'm not going to sit here and recommend that people do this all on their own, because it is actually a big task to build a website and you really don't have time. That's not a valuable, equitable trade for you, schedule for dollars. Now that you're earning money and people are calling
Mhm.
you from your organic posts, reaching out, they want your help. We got to stay focused on our primary activities, our primary ability here, and that is serving with electrical service. Am I wrong there?
No, the goal is that you're making your money turning tools and serving your clients, and you spending time building your price book and fixing your website and doing all your. Yeah, that's all well and good, but it doesn't move the bottom line for the amount of time you're going to put into it. It's better to outsource these things or dedicate a team that can handle those in your stead.
100%. I love the way you put that. And the price book even reminds me how we're constantly looking to confirm a customer before investing that massive effort, especially at this stage of our business. And it's not something that we've talked about yet. And we probably need to fit it into the schedule here for this month of this launch. But that said, staying focused on the website, we can achieve these basic results and have sort of continuity in our marketing, link it back to our social media, right? Our Google's linked to our website. It's got some about us for a deeper dive on us. It's got some why we're doing what we do to let people know, hey, we're in residential service. We do serve you. And yes, this is real. The reviews are real. We're the real deal. And we want to serve at the highest level. It can be that simple. This website isn't designed to create a bunch of clicks. It's designed to complete the loop, right? And so we can achieve that for literally around $1,000. A website like 99 Designs, or we mentioned Design Crowd with the logos, you can get started with a literal competition where people will submit design elements to try to earn your trust, and you get to choose who you work with, the elements you want, and the price you pay. Or you can go to a site like Fiverr or Upwork and also kind of outsource this and just start small. It relieves you. Yes, that may involve outsourcing some investment, but don't get me wrong, right? We interviewed Dan Antonelli and Kickcharge, right? You started Patriot this way, right? Bootstrapped, but later on we can invest. We can invest more because we'll have more, and it will be a worthwhile, proven investment. That makes sense to you, Joe?
Yeah. So to simplify and further, it's you don't need to go from 0 to 100. You need to go from 0 to 1 and then from 1 to 2. Just because you're a level 1 vehicle, you're a level 1 brand, your level 1 website may not look like you're level 100, but what's necessary to get you to level 2, what's required to get you to level 3, and so on and so forth. Build it as you go, build it for what you need, scale it accordingly.
Love that, man. Really well done. Is there anything else you would add to this one before we jump into some action items to keep people going here today?
I think action items are necessary at this point because anything I'm thinking of, I just see future spreads from it. So rather than opening up a hole and going down, I'd rather just say, let's make sure we talk to the specific thing we're trying to solve.
All right, let's hit it. You want basic or all-star today?
I want the all-star.
All right, man. Very cool. So we covered a few things today, but the most important thing we really started with was you Googleize it. You can do this. You can start this. You can get familiar with Google. And the more you do, the more power you'll have, because I truly feel for the most part, the things we're going to do with Google, including getting verified and eventually setting up local service ads at a minimum, right, is stuff that we can manage in-house and manage pretty well in-house for a long time to come, especially once we get to our first hire and some office help, right? So establishing your Google, getting familiar with that Google business page, or formerly Google My Business, using our free value piece, as we said, I think I said drop a 4, and we'll send that over today, right? Making sure to utilize that and stay current on your information so that people can find you and they can reach you as they need to. That would be my basic. Just get moving on You Googleize It.
I'm ready for the all-star because it ties in directly with that. Now, the thing is that you don't want to mirror your competition because you want to stand out as different from them. But let's just assume that you don't know where to start. You're like, I want to establish this from level 0 to level 1. Where do you go? Luckily, there are so many other trades that have similar approaches that you can approach as a customer and say, okay, let's assume that I wanted to go and get a new hot water heater. Let me see and find a plumbing company and see if they're hard to find or what they would include. And as you're a customer or being a customer, you can say, does this speak to me? What turned me off? If you can take 5 companies, 5 separate websites, and pro and con each one, you would be significantly farther along But here's the all-star action, is looking at it through the lens of a customer. You will not be able to speak to a customer thinking as a business owner. You instead need to be in the mindset and in the shoes of the person you're trying to serve. So after you've evaluated 5 other trade companies, then imagine you're in the customer shoes of, okay, now I'm looking for an electrical call and this happens. How and what would make me want to call this company? Based on all the data I have now gleaned, what now will make me stand out? And that is the all-star level.
Wow, man, super powerful. I love that customer-centric focus. Just like we talked about last time, and speaking to our clients using their language is a superpower. So why not incorporate that into the design, the development of your site, and even the words you're using on this thing with the help you get for mighty cheap, as we discussed. Really looking to stay minimalist, as we say in business, MVP, minimum viable product. Right. But that doesn't mean minimum service. You're going to maximize service while chasing that MVP and making sure to collect all that cash, stack up your accounts, and be able to have a relaunch when the time is right. This has been episode 237 on the $1 Million Launch Series. You Googleized it. You probably didn't guess it, as I suggested earlier, but you're going to Googleize it, set up this website, and keep on rocking. We've got more coming down the pipe. Thank you for joining us again on Electricpreneur Secrets. We'll see you all again soon.
Truly a pleasure. Can't wait to see you soon.